Hey everyone, Church of STFU here. So, Thunderf00t's made the latest in his series of poor little me videos. So terrible trolls are calling him names, wishing him dead, and saying the nasties about his kin. I'll be quite honest, I find those kind of jokes distasteful. I do. I don't find joking about killing people amusing. I also don't really find jokes about someone else's mother particularly funny. I mean, that's just me, but then I'm the whiny, PC, liberal asshole. But it is humor, however distasteful. It's a joke at your expense, and you know it. It's just too rich that the guy who wants Islam to get a sense of humor by encouraging the drawing of rude images of things Muslims consider important, much like you consider your mother to be important, Thunderf00t, and the guy that burns their holy book, even if it's not their book, symbolically, obviously that's the intent, that person is crying about how some meanie people said naughty, nasty things about him and his mommy. The guy who set out to offend a billion people is now spitting his dummy because people are making fun of him for his opinions. He carries out his little actions disregarding the feelings of all Muslims, people who he's never heard from or met. Yet he wahs endlessly when people who are responding directly to what he's saying do the same to him. Not people that don't know him, people that know at least his opinions and at least have seen him do the same. He starts crying about it. And he thinks that doing this to people that he's never met is perfectly okay. 3 words. Pot, kettle, black, mate. And who's doing this? It's a guy who gets 95% thumbs up on every one of his videos. 95% thumbs up from thousands of viewers. This is a guy who cannot take the opposition of a small minority of dissenters. Yet he's ignoring the feelings of Muslim minorities in the West. Yeah, tiny minorities in many places. But whatever. Why not stroke some sentiment against them? Yes, it's oh so brave. He's willing to risk his life, but not his ego. Also notice that when he plays those worst off clips, where he puts together some comments or statements he thinks are especially offensive, and is basically trying to strawman the opposition to his argument, he doesn't really go into any of the arguments in detail. He might sometimes strawman a position and then talk about it for a couple of seconds, but never does he really just present someone's actual argument when he uses one of those clips. He doesn't present one of the people that are making perfectly coherent arguments, and he could just play their clip and respond to the argument. He won't do that. I mean, the closest he ever got was the D-Land and Cole debate. And he's not going to make that mistake again, is he? Because, yeah, he got pwned on that one. And I'm not using that term lightly. I don't pwn people. I'm not pwning. Well, I guess I kind of am pwning Thunderf00t right now, but that's just because how easy he's making it right now. Not because I really have the ability to do that, but D-Land and Cole, being a very clever guy himself, really showed Thunderf00t who's who in that debate. And I guess he learned from that experience. So I've been kind of beating down on Thunderf00t, been very negative about him. But the truth is, I have learned some things from Thunderf00t, and I'm very grateful for having learned them. When I first came across him a couple of years ago, like so many others, I learned a lot of valuable kind of arguments to use against creationists. But Thunderfoot really presented them in such a concise and beautiful manner that it was very, very effective. In the end, I didn't actually run across too many creationists in my everyday life living in Australia. But yes, if you live somewhere where you have a lot of those about, that would have been a very invaluable resource, and it was very enlightening for me personally. But it's actually, ever since he's taken his new tack towards taking on Islam, that I've really started learning from him, that I've really started learning from you, Thunderfoot. I'd been drifting towards being less and less accepting of religious people, towards applying rhetoric and behavior towards religious people that was less and less like the kind that I would have applied to someone on my side, or even just someone neutral in a setting where I wouldn't consider them religious. I was betraying my own standards, and I was becoming a hypocrite. And Thunderfoot, you've saved me from that. You really have, and I am so thankful to you. Your tunnel vision, your discounting of other viewpoints, which is so reminiscent of the people that you argued against in those early videos of yours that I'd watched. That brought me back from the brink. I've learned never to trust anyone on my side, to have an open mind. I've learned never to take someone's side just because they're on my side. I now understand that however right I am, or at least think I am, on an issue, that doesn't mean that I or the people on my side can't have their own terrible flaws, which, when it comes to individuals, might make them far more wrong than a lot of people on the other side. That's what you've taught me, Thunderfoot. You taught me that a house divided is always better than a house united in the hypocrisy of thoughtless ideology. Church of STFL and Thunderfoot, I know you are very unlikely to watch this video, but if you do, I have all the sympathy in the world for what you're trying to do. I believe that you're probably quite sincere in thinking that you're a part of the solution, that you're fixing things, but you're really not. You're not just dividing the atheist community. You're making real progress more difficult for everyone, because real progress isn't getting rid of Islam or religion. It isn't beating them over the head with a stick until they become like us. Real progress is understanding one another. And once we reach that point, we can actually get people convinced of the right idea. And if you, like I do, believe in those great humanist ideals, then you're not going to be worried that we're going to lose that debate. So stop trying to stop the debate. Start encouraging it. Start making that your goal. Because I'd love to come back on side. I really would.